Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Hotline Live for May 22nd, 2020. Broadcasting to you from the Rio Grande Valley through the power of love. I like that. Maybe that'll be my new intro tagline or something like that. Broadcasting from the Rio Grande Valley through the power of love. Fantastically beautiful. We have a great episode for you tonight. Before we begin, I actually want to give a special shout out to Casa Panchita Recording Studios in the Rio Grande Valley for making tonight's show possible. I've actually been having a lot of technical issues over the past 3 weeks. Everything's been breaking down. This week my computer, the battery just exploded is what it was. But a friend of mine was telling me that I should get a curandera in here, do a limpia in the studio because, enough is enough, really. And now the computer's gone, so thanks very much for letting us borrow a MacBook for tonight's episode. To Casa Panchita Studios, great recording studio in the Mid-Valley run by Charlie Vela. I'm sure a lot of people out there tonight have heard of both the studio and Charlie. And we're going to get started in a little bit. We have hip-hop recording artist from Brownsville, Texas joining us tonight, C Styled, and he's going to be talking about his latest album, Eventually, that was just out last month. Full-length album with some great tracks, honestly. And I actually reached out to C Styles a couple weeks ago on Twitter, taking a look at some of his music videos and checking out all his catalog on Spotify, Apple Music. And I really like his stuff. And these past couple of months, I've been trying to get more into hip-hop, original hip-hop music in the Rio Grande Valley. And there's a lot of stuff out there, a lot of good stuff out there. So we're going to be talking to C Styles in a little bit at the top of the second hour. And we're going to play some of his music videos for tracks off of his latest album. And talk a little bit about how it was produced and some of the people that collaborated with him on that. Take a look at some of the stuff that he put out. Really good stuff. I'm also going to be talking to Ronnie Garza in a little bit. Tonight, I'm going to be talking about, of course, Rio Grande Valley bars opening tonight amid the global pandemic that we're having. And Ronnie Garza is actually a friend of mine. He is a filmmaker. And let me see if I have let me bring his stuff up here, because I thought I had it on the screen and maybe I don't. This is the kind of stuff that happens at professional shows. He's a freelance video journalism for Texas Public Radio, covering border issues ranging from child separation policies to COVID-19. Recently won awards for 3 videos produced for Texas Public Radio. And he's also a documentary filmmaker. He co-directed, co-produced As I Walk Through the Valley. The other director-producer of that, of course, Charlie Vela, that we mentioned a little bit earlier. And I think them and a few other people are putting together also another documentary about LGBTQ history in the Valley called Pansy Pachanga. And Ronnie is doing another documentary coming out, not sure when, I guess we'll ask him. He's working on it now. 11,000 years of history in the Rio Grande Valley. He's told me a little bit about this before, actually. And it goes back Rio Grande Valley history all the way back to prehistoric times, which is pretty nuts. But he's actually going to be calling in tonight because a couple of weeks ago he started a website that basically shows all of the latest data, news, updates, everything going on with COVID-19 in the Rio Grande Valley. And there's a lot of good stuff on there, a lot of very informative charts and things like that. So we're actually going to be talking to him about what's been going on with statistics, trends, maybe a little bit of what we can expect in the weeks coming up now that we are opening up the valley, now that we're opening up amid the pandemic. So hi to everybody out there. Got a few people on YouTube, a few on Facebook, live as well. We're simulcasting on both platforms tonight. Might be doing maybe Twitch, maybe Periscope, maybe Instagram. If if we can get everything in the studio work. I was actually supposed to go on Instagram for this episode live. I had figured out a way to simulcast to Instagram live, and we had done a couple of tests, but with this incident that occurred with our equipment this week, didn't have time to set that up for tonight, but we'll get it eventually. And so I'm sure you've heard the news. I'm sure everybody's actually just waiting to see what goes on tonight, to see if people are going to come out in droves, which I think they might. I don't know. Most people are saying that they will. I think somebody commented to me that they're staying up late to watch all the street fighting videos that are going to be on on social media. Without a doubt, which I hope not. I'm sure everybody saw the fight that broke out in front of a Ross this week when people were out there shopping, desgreñándose por unas cazuelas there at Ross. So I don't know. Will there be more videos like that at bars tonight? People are they've got that pent-up energy, and I think that it makes, I don't know, maybe combined with alcohol also. I'm not looking forward to that. Not looking forward to any of that. But it was on the news. It says, as a part of Governor, this is from Texas Tribune, by the way, as part of Governor Greg Abbott's attempt to begin reviving the economy, Myriad Texas business can reopen Friday. And we've got open caller lines at 956-224-9082. If anybody wants to call in and share their thoughts on bars reopening tonight, we've got open lines. But it says it's not just bars. It says it includes bars, bowling alleys, and aquariums of limited capacity. Restaurants can also operate at 50%. And it was at 25, right? 25% May 1st. 25% capacity up until now, which is now it's 50% capacity. It says bars, dancing, and other close contact interactions are discouraged. So you can't dance tonight. I don't want to see any dancing out there. I promised that I wouldn't cuss on this show after the first episode. But if I was going to cuss, seeing people dancing tonight would be the reason. Okay? I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to. This is now a family show. And so if somebody were to say, those mother pluckers out there dancing, spraying to see, they can say it on their own show. I'm not going to do it. Okay? Those sons of peaches. Say it on your own show. Say it on your own timeline, because I'm not going to do it here. Andres Sanchez on Facebook Live comment says, read that the Ross fight was due to someone cutting in line. That was probably that was probably it. When I saw the video, I was extremely tempted to do a short segment on social media about the backstory of the fight and just make something up completely. Which, you know what? Let me say this now. I think eventually something like that might happen on this show where you'll see a report and it may or may not even be true. I'm still, so far, I've tried to, I'm not a journalist, but I play one on TV, right? Be straight up with everything, but this live stream is totally for fun on my part. And I think it will be interesting. I did a segment on the South Padre Island fire when that occurred on that same day. Somebody who was there witnessed that fire lanes were blocked by vehicles, and I guess they had to go door to door looking for the drivers of these cars to free up that fire lane. Unfortunate. So I took that segment very seriously, and I presented it very accurately. I was making sure that it was good. I even looked at maps and looked at the person's story and went back and forth. Looked at other tweets that were coming out like crazy at that morning to sort of verify that that was happening. And I was able to verify it with another, totally separate person on Twitter that was in the area and saw the same thing. So Chris Germany on the Facebook Live chat says it doesn't have to be true to be entertaining. So true. The dark side. The dark side of media, right? I haven't gone over yet, Maybe Maybe I'll have like a little marker on the screen that says, not a real fake news, or like the Onion, right? Onion does whatever happened to the Onion. I haven't been on that website in years. It used to be one of my favorite sites back when they were just a little newspaper at a college campus. I don't know what college, somewhere in the Midwest or something like that. Back in the 90s. But they had a website so you could read it anywhere. The Onion, fake news. Something like that. I don't know. But we have open lines. And every week I tell people, you know what? I'm going to schedule some callers. So that somebody calls during the show, but I never get a chance to. We had a couple of callers on the first episode. And like I mentioned earlier, we're actually going to have Ronnie Garza call in a little bit to talk about COVID itself, not the law that we're seeing today across the state, opening up restaurants, bars, bowling alleys and aquariums. I don't know. I guess everybody wants to stay in business despite what the science is advising us. I would like to say, and I take every opportunity to tell people this, because I feel like we're in a little bit of a hypnosis about this opening. We've been sick of being at home, and we're seeing people open up. We're seeing more people in the streets. So somehow we think that the virus is gone, or we're less susceptible, or something like that. But in reality, there is more infection now out there than there was when we were closing down livestock shows, spring break, everything. There's actually more infection now out in the streets. And so that's a real mind pluck. Didn't cuss, right? I just like putting the cuss word in your mind. So I can be offensive without actually saying it. And I think we actually just got a call and I didn't even answer it. I don't know why. Oh, here we go. Somebody's calling. Hello, you're on Hotline Live.
Hey, what's up, Hotline Live?
What's going on, man? Where are you calling from?
I am calling from Elsa, Texas, the worst part of the Rio Grande Valley.
Elsa, Texas, and you're saying it's the worst part of the Rio Grande Valley. I think there are some people
People
who
call
would
it that.
fight you for that title. I don't know.
No, I'm from here. Don't worry. I'm messing. I'm being sarcastic. How's it
I
going,
love
everybody?
I actually really like the valley. I know that there are naysayers out there. I'm not one of them. I really like the valley, and Elsa, Texas is a place that I know a little bit because one of my grandparents lived there for a little bit, a couple of years, short years.
Nice. That's the
So I'm a
first time
little bit
someone
familiar
tells
with
me
that
that,
area. So I've been out
and
to
they don't
Elsa,
bring up
Texas
some type of
many
crime.
times. I've been out to Elsa, Texas many times, but tell us, what are your plans for tonight? Everything's going to be, I guess, way more open than it usually is. Downtown's going to be open and everything. What are your plans for tonight?
Be lonely per usual.
What did you say? I'm sorry, I didn't understand.
Be lonely per
Oh,
usual.
being lonely per usual. So you are staying home. You are
Yes.
respecting.
Sorry.
I was going to
Yeah,
say
yeah.
respecting the
I'm doing
quarantine,
all
but
that.
there is no quarantine to respect. So it's a self imposed
So first
quarantine.
off, I don't respect anything. First off,
Okay.
no, it's just I don't see the purpose in going out. I think honestly, bars they just cause nothing but trouble. And I'm not
Okay.
necessarily against closing bars either because I think they're very important to the local economy and state economy, yada yada. But
Right.
I just don't like them, and I'm okay with them staying
Oh
closed.
my
In fact,
God.
I'm all for it.
So you're not even part of the quarantine. You just don't like going out on Friday nights.
No, I don't. And because I mean, yeah, it's just nothing but trouble. You go to a bar, you see fights, you see drunk people, bad stuff happens. I
Yeah.
mean, I wonder actually how the, drinking and driving crime rate. I wonder if it's gone down since the quarantine.
Well, I'll tell you what, every little bit helps, and I will take that. I will take that. If you are staying home for a completely different reason other than quarantine,
Maybe I
I
just don't
still, I
like
still,
people.
I still salute you. I still salute you, even
Thank you.
though I myself would love to be out right now. I love going out,
Oh my God.
and
Ugh.
I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it for all the aforementioned reasons, and I don't know. Let's wait
So,
to see what comes out on
so
social media tonight, because I would like to
if
get creative
if
with some of this stuff.
I am curious. I am I'm more curious if there's going to be overcrowding and how many people are going to get turned away. I'm wondering how that dynamic is going to work out.
That's what I mean by what comes out on social media tonight. So that's one of the things, is there
Yeah,
are still some regulations. So 50% for restaurants, bars, you can't dance, you can't walk
exactly.
around, you have
And
to be seated at the
everyone's
table.
going to want to go out.
Right.
Everyone's
So
going to
you have
want to be there. So
so
it's like, what happens when they hit 50? Do they just turn them around? And what if those people are already drunk? Are they just going to get violent? You see,
Oh my
I feel like I have
God.
way too much anxiety, and that's what I worry about. Like when I go out with my friends, I don't want to be beat up by some dudes that are angry because they're not being let in a bar.
I'm going to tell you
And I
something
think,
really
what? What's up?
I'm going to tell you something really dumb about my brain. Okay? That I
Yeah.
guess I had been imagining in my brain, I had been visualizing people arriving at bars and trying to,
Okay.
like the guidelines say, be seated, not dance, not walk around, stay 6 feet away from each other. But for some reason, my mind was replaying a loop from like 10:30 to 11 when people get there to maybe around midnight. But you're talking about 1:45 in the morning, aren't you?
Uh, I don't know. I feel like that's the problem. Maybe I've just had bad experiences. Maybe I'm the
Yeah.
troublemaker here. But I feel like every time I go out, every time I'm trying to avoid trouble, I end up in trouble. Whether I'm like trying to defend someone else and just like simply like praising someone who just got punched, like I look like a belligerent at that point to someone who's really
Oh
drunk,
my
or maybe I'm
God.
just I don't know what it is. I just genuinely don't like it. I respect that people like it. Definitely not for me. Hey, but I do have a question for you if you don't mind me asking.
Okay, let's try it out.
So, when do you feel that it would be appropriate for the bars and everything to reopen?
I would like everything to be completely closed. Uh, I would like for the entire population to not
Right?
see the light of day for years.
right?
No, I mean honestly
Dude,
for
that's what I'm
me,
saying.
look, honestly for me, if if we can keep even one person from dying, from losing their life, I mean it's a pandemic. It doesn't come around that often. I feel like there have been pandemics before. You go back in history, you look at some of the extreme sacrifices that a lot of people made in other
Oh, for
pandemics,
sure, for sure.
and even in other grand scale like social efforts, wars and things like that. And we can't
Oh,
like
don't even get me started.
not get a drink, So
No,
I
so my
think
whole thing is this. I respect. Oh, sorry, sorry, sorry. I was totally interrupting there. My bad.
no, that's okay. There's a delay. There's an audio delay on the phone. There's an
Yeah,
audio
I
delay on the
figured
phone. It
that
makes
much.
it a little difficult to
And
go back
Spectrum
and
sucks.
forth. Yeah.
Spectrum
Well,
sucks. I just want to shout out real quick. If you use Spectrum, just drop them. Just drop them. I swear to
oh
God, I'm
my
so
God.
done with them.
Well, I'll tell you
You
this, and
heard this? Shout out to
I've
Spectrum.
mentioned it on the show before, is that due to the pandemic, one of the things that I did was that I came to my family's place in a rural area. We're all staying here. We don't go out. We got a whole protocol for bringing food in. Everything's delivered.
God
We've got some
damn.
extended family members that are high risk that we also have a protocol to take care of because they need help. So it's a whole situation. And honestly, I leave the house maybe once a month, something like that. I
As
I've
it
left the
should be.
house. I've left the house twice in the past like 6 weeks. One was to pick up this computer today, and I mean I was basically out of my car for like 45 seconds. So I drove, got out, picked up. It's no contact. Got back in my car and came. And then the first time was because I had to get a scan of one of my organs at a clinic. Okay, and there was just no way to do telemedicine on that. And it was like,
You couldn't Skype
you know,
them?
I'm not going to get into the whole personal thing. And the FYI, I came out okay, but it could have been
Yeah,
like
yeah. Good to hear.
they were calling me up and they were like, they gave you the talk like, you know what, I think we found something, could be very serious. You have to get this scan. So I was like, oh my God, I got to go out. So I left my house for that. And I did come into contact with some people. That was like 3 weeks ago or something like that, maybe even a month ago. But that's been it. That's really been it. We have one
So,
person in the household who does grocery shopping, and they have a protocol.
so that's really interesting because here's my personal take on it is I understand the caution and I do definitely think that exercising caution is very important. I fully support keeping masks on. In fact, I still use it. However, I will say that I'm probably not nearly as cautious as you are. Like I've definitely been
Right.
outside a lot more than once a month. And how do you feel about people that do that? Like me, like I said, I'm still being cautious. I'm still very much using hand sanitizer, but I'm not necessarily in a rural area. I also don't have anyone that I need to take care of, fortunately. So to me, at the same time, it's like I don't want to be trapped because of circumstances that would affect other people. But at the same time, I'm cautious that my actions will affect other people. But I'm not
I
trying to
mean,
be a douche and like affect your loved ones directly. But like, how do you feel about people like me going out?
well, I'll tell you this. Everybody has to adjust to this as much as they can. I am extremely privileged in that the work that I do can be done remotely, can be done fully
Yeah.
remotely. And so I can do this. I can pull this off. And then also, one of the reasons I came to my family's house was because I didn't know what was going to happen economically, right? So I was
Oh
like, oh,
yeah,
you know
no,
what? So
there
I'm
was
like,
definitely.
and so I mean, I understood because I researched this early on, and I understood right away, like,
Oh,
okay,
for
this is going to
sure.
be a huge thing. There's going to be the economy's going to suffer. People are going to lose their jobs. Like, here's what happened last time. Here's what the scientists are saying. Here's what the CDC is saying. Here's what's happening in this country, in this country. Like, it's like dominoes coming down weeks before. So it's like, you know what? We got to hunker down for a little while, maybe for the rest of the year or something like that, and not spread this thing and protect our extended family who are high risk from that. We don't want to lose anybody. We don't want to lose one person. We want to bring
Yeah,
everybody forward, right?
yeah, no, I
And
totally
so
respect
so how
that
to,
too.
so but to answer your question, I don't judge anybody and I don't feel any certain way. The only thing I do criticize is when you are you have blatant disregard for what's going on. And to me, I think being in a crowded, and again, let's see what happens, because I could be totally wrong. We might see some images, some videos tonight of people being very respectful, of people.
You've already seen it at Ross. You've seen it at Ross. Come on.
I want to be fair. When the videos come out, I'll go full speed. But I want to be fair. We don't know what we're going to see tonight. Maybe we'll see some people being, some places under capacity, being very cautious. Maybe even people with masks.
I'm very sure we're going to see the very best of humanity out there. I'm confident of it. I'm putting money on it right now.
I'm an optimistic person. I really am. I'm an optimist.
No, I totally get that. I get that.
So I will denounce when I see it. I'm not going to back down. Maybe next week we'll have some playback, maybe shame some people. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what it's going to take. I'm
definitely calling again if that's the case.
I don't know what it's going to take. We got to do something. But for tonight, it's pretty early. It's 8:30.
It's closed down the bars.
It's 8:30 right now. So there's people at home, maybe a few people, maybe one or two or more watching this that are considering going out tonight. Stay in.
Don't do it.
Watch the rest of the
You're
live
gonna get
stream.
jumped.
Maybe is Feldman's Liquor delivering? I don't know.
I have no idea about that.
To say a brand on the air.
Tiny, we have none of that. Can you say a brand on the air? Because I've already told off Spectrum, and I'm going to send this to him.
Oh, my God. We're going to get shut down by everybody.
All right. Don't let me hog up your hotline, by the way.
What was your name again?
My name, I go by Baba Renz on the internet. BABARENZ. You can type that in Facebook. I'll probably come up. If you see some slander there, some mugshots, that's not me. But yeah.
Okay.
Look at my podcast, The Problem With Me, on Spotify. We're exclusive like Joe Rogan. So
nice.
Fun talking to you, and I will stick to, I'll probably watch the rest of the episode.
Awesome. Yeah. Thanks for calling. Throw the link in the comments if you'd like. Thanks very much.
Oh, shoot. Thank you very much. Yeah. Will do. Have a great one.
Likewise. Fantastic. But yeah, we'll see what happens tonight at these bars. And I'm gonna stay up late. I'm gonna stay up late and see. Set the Twitter feed to a geographic search, to images and videos only. You can do this on TweetDeck, by the way, if you want to follow along. Go on, if you have a Twitter account, go on tweetdeck.com and do a geographic search, so you can see all the videos and images across the valley as they happen. One of my favorite things. But we're gonna have Ronnie Garza calling in just a little bit. As I mentioned before, earlier in the show, he started a website that he updates this website every day, every single day, and it shows all the COVID data for all the Rio Grande Valley counties and so forth. He's got news stories on there, all kinds of stuff, and it looks like he's on the line now. Ronnie, welcome to the show.
Hey, Pablo, this is Christian.
Okay, hey, Christian, how's it going? Oops.
It's going good. It's going good. How about you?
It's going well. Sorry, I'm a little bit confused with the graphics on the screen. I was expecting Ronnie to be calling. How's it going, Christian? You're calling from. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Belton, Texas.
Belton,
it's in Central Texas, way up north.
Oh, okay. What is that? What is that close to? What's the closest city that I would know?
We're right in between Austin and Waco.
Oh, between Austin and Waco. Okay. Yeah, I mean, all over Texas, things are opening tonight. What are your plans for tonight as the state opens up?
Probably same plans as every weekend. Stay home, get drunk.
Stay home and get drunk.
I really don't do much.
Oh, my God. I think that's a good option. I started drinking at the beginning of the pandemic, But it was only a few nights. It was only that first initial, I think, panic before I was able to gather myself up again and move forward with protocol.
Yeah, yeah.
This is water, by the way,
Like-
that I'm drinking on the show.
Sure it is. Sure it is.
What are you drinking tonight?
Jack and Dr. Pepper.
Oh my goodness, Jack and Dr. P. That's classic. I haven't had a Jack and Dr. P in a very long time. And how have you been handling the COVID pandemic so far? Are you just like the last caller and me, that staying home most of the time? Or are you going out a little bit?
I've pretty much been going out the whole time, doing whatever I need to do. I mean, up here, things weren't as I guess panicked as they were down there.
Okay.
I mean, obviously people still wearing their masks and everything, but we were never really in quarantine.
Do you go out for work daily?
Oh yeah, every day.
Okay, yeah. As I was mentioning on my last call, some people have to go out to work. You have to adjust as much as you can. I do have some friends who do not have a choice at their jobs to not show up. Some of these companies aren't allowing people to work from home, even if they could. What kind of job do you have?
Right now, I am doing concrete work.
Got it. That's something you
so I get to
absolutely
be
have to do
outside
in
in the
person.
sun all day.
Yeah, but I guess you don't come into contact with a lot of people. It's not a job like customer service or something like that where you're continuously coming into contact with people. Maybe that's a little bit of a different situation.
I feel like it really is. I mean, the only people I'm in contact with are the other two guys I work with all day.
How populated is it where you are? Is it a rural area or a suburb?
In Belton, we have about 20,000 people, but Temple,
Okay.
I think, which is the city right next to us, has like
Close to
50,000.
Got it. So you're like in a suburb of Temple or something like that.
Yeah, I'm.
A little bit
my
outside.
house is right out by Temple Lake.
Okay, cool. Very nice. Very nice. Thanks for calling tonight. Call anytime. We're going to have Ronnie Garza tonight, and hopefully we get to hear from you again. Christian, right?
All righty. Yeah.
Thank you very much. All right. I think we're going to have Ronnie Garza on next. Yeah, this isn't a very professional setup or anything. So, I need to invest in like one of those $20,000 radio station switchboards or something like that. So I think Ronnie's going to call in a little bit. Let's see if we can get him on the line in a little bit. Check Facebook chat. Genesis Moreno says the Onion is based in Chicago. Okay, talking a little bit about that earlier. And it looks like we have Ronnie Garza on the line.
Hello.
Hey, Ronnie, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Great. Just taking callers tonight on this statewide opening tonight. And
Cool.
talking to people about this website you've put together for this pandemic that's going on. I guess tell us a little bit about, first tell us a little bit about this website you've put together, when it started, and everything that's on it, I guess.
Sure. So I put together a website, rgvcovid19info.com, and at first, mainly it was just me trying to figure out what was going on with the coronavirus here in the Valley, and it sort of morphed into a data project where now that's my main focus on the website, which is tracking the cases and then trying to visualize the data to just sort of see what the trends are in terms of the cases here and
Right.
the breakdown across the 4 counties.
Got it. 4 counties. So you're doing Hidalgo, you're doing Cameron, and I imagine Starr County?
Yeah, Star and Willacy.
Starr and Willacy County, 4 county. Now, one thing that I'm really curious about, where are you getting most of this data for the counties?
So it's all going to be from their website. They all use different outlets as their main kind of public-facing information source. So the
Right.
two biggest counties have a dedicated web page for that. So on the county web page, they put out press releases each day that announce the daily statistics. So how many cases of what cities and ages and things like that.
Right. That's one of the things I like about this site, and I'm looking at it right now, is everything from all the counties is together. I try to follow the monitor and I try to follow the county Twitter feeds and everything, and everything comes in at different times of the day, in different places, sometimes just in the newspaper or something like that. But on this site, you've got everything together. Right on the front page, you've got the most important statistics, and you've got the helpline numbers, the 24/7 helpline numbers for all the different counties, and also state of Texas COVID-19 helpline. So a extremely useful website. You've also got news and everything, health info. Um, so I guess I wanted to have you on the show tonight to tell us a little bit about, for those of us who don't have time to keep up daily with all the data coming out from the four counties, what are some of the trends, most important trends that you've been seeing over the past week, over the past 2 weeks or so as we open up the economy here?
For sure. So I've been periodically I've been putting out these Medium articles that sort of do analysis on the numbers, and the next one will be at the beginning of next month. But as I've been preparing for that, I've been looking at just the kind of like blocks of like 2-week chunks. And if you look at our cases, we've been at this for about 2 months, a little bit over 2 months in terms of COVID-19 cases coming in. And what I've noticed in the most recent data is that the average number of cases is up from the low, which was or the sort of flattened curve, which was after the peak in mid-April. So in the first couple of weeks, we were about 13.5 cases per day. Then in the kind of height of it, in that the Easter period, it was closer to 27 cases a day, 26.8 cases per day. Then we were flattening the curve with the restrictions, the lockdowns, and business closures and whatnot. And that brought it back down to about 15 or 16 cases a day. But now it's back up to about 21 cases a day.
So we've already sort of ascended from the flat. From the from that flat response that we got after we closed everything down, we're already going up from that. We're already seeing more cases climb at this point, even now.
Right. Yeah, about 6 more cases per day on average from when the curve was flattened. So the opening up has seemed to have brought us closer to the peak levels. We're not at the peak levels yet, but we are rising. Our number of average number of cases per day are rising. And one of the important trends, I think, is that Cameron County is definitely surpassing Hidalgo County at this point. I think about 200 more cases in Cameron County than Hidalgo County. So there's definitely a lot more cases and a lot more fatalities in Cameron County, especially in Harlingen.
Got it. And if you're watching this at home, the website is rgvcovid19info.com. If you want to see visuals of everything that Ronnie Garza is describing, Ronnie sent me some graphics earlier today, but because of the equipment problems I mentioned at the top of the hour, I didn't quite have time to import everything into the live stream before 8 p.m., but definitely check out the website, and all that data is on there. Now, one of the things that I'm seeing here, from my perspective, I don't want to see any climb in cases. I want to see 0 cases every day. And at the beginning of all this, there was a lot of information on the news about how we wanted to flatten the curve, about how it was just impossible not to have a curve upward, and that what we really wanted to do was just flatten it. And so I'm seeing on these charts, we're starting out way back in March. Now we're well into May, and we were able to have a plateau for a little while. We're seeing cases come up. Are you seeing something like a blunted or flatten curve overall? Are we still keeping in that plan even though we're opening now? What have you seen so far, I guess, even starting back from March for that whole line?
Well, really, the curve was flattened in that kind of couple week period. So between April 19th to May 3rd.
Right.
That's where the curve did flatten, or flatten more, and it brought it down
Right.
to kind of like the pre-peak levels. But it is trending upwards. It is going back towards the peak levels. It's not there yet, but it is trending back upwards, and we're only loosening restrictions going into that upward trend. So
Right.
you'd expect to see more, although one significant difference that's occurred recently is the expansion of testing. Also on the website, there's a spot for testing, and there's been a
Right.
lot more places for testing to take place, and that may impact the scheduling of results coming back in. I'm not quite sure how that works, but it's not
Okay.
as centralized as it was before.
Okay. Okay. And I'm seeing also, and I'm looking through these charts. We're talking about the very first one, and I do see what you're talking about in terms of cases going down, sort of in the third set of 2 weeks that you've been tracking this, and now they're coming back up in the past 2 weeks. I'm also seeing a graphic here that shows more than half of the RGV deaths, and I'm sure there's already been reporting about this, have been at nursing homes. Is that correct?
Right, that's correct. So 25 just out of the two in Harlingen, and then Hidalgo County hasn't really been attaching their fatality statistics to nursing homes. And there was an outbreak in a Brownsville nursing home recently. There was some news about that, but definitely in Harlingen, those two, the Veranda nursing home, the Windsor Atrium, that accounts for 25 of the fatalities.
Right. I see a huge spike in deaths per day, March 22nd, April 22nd. Between April 22nd and April 28th also, but I don't see anything like that going into May at all, and that may be due to some of the closures, I guess, but maybe we'll be seeing some changes in that as well. I know that I've read on national papers, national outlets, usually media properties with a lot more resources, time, and analysts and stuff like that, do projections into the future for the whole country. Have you been looking at projections? Are there any, or have you done any projections over the next few months or something like that far out, just for these counties? Is that available or no?
No projections. I definitely think that I'm just trying to keep it to the available data and
Right.
just look at the current trends. Projections can go all over the place, so that may be less useful. I think if I were with the county and I had access to more data or something along those lines, more testing
Right.
data especially, then maybe projections could be made. But from a sort of just public perspective is what I have, just looking at their publicly available data. I'm just trying to reflect what they currently have and visualize that.
Yeah, and I haven't seen a lot of stuff like that coming from the counties, where they're going out of their way maybe to inform people about what may happen or what is projected to happen as a result of the decisions, some that they're having to make and some that they've made on their own for the sake of the economy. I would love to see something from them because, like you just commented, they have more direct access and probably a lot more time and resources to dedicate to something like that. As it is,
Exactly.
I think we're seeing, I guess, messaging go in the opposite way of that on social media accounts from cities and counties, where yes, caution is suggested, but we're seeing a lot of PR for special events that the cities are holding. Or I think last week we mentioned the fireworks show for Memorial Day that SPI visitors, I guess it's visitor center or something like that, was doing their rounds about. And of course, the cities and counties are not, I don't know if encouraging is the right word, but certainly sharing those kinds of messages at the same time that they're sharing messages for people to be cautious, for people to stay home. So a little bit of a back and forth there. I'm seeing on your website that you do post news. Have you seen, I guess, any trends in terms of the news coverage that we're getting for this kind of stuff down here, or even communication coming from the official counties and so forth?
Yeah. So there's a lot of news. I don't post all the news. I do provide resources to get directly to either the Monitor or KRGV or other local news outlets, as well as the county websites. But from watching the local news and also looking at the county websites, they are starting to visualize their own data. This is something new. Like at least Hidalgo County is starting to visualize some of their data, and so they're putting out more of that within this last week, which is helpful to me and everyone really. And then the news is also starting to visualize some data, although it seems like it's all line graphs and maybe not as helpful as it could be. But there's definitely a trend in that direction where they're trying to look at numbers, but you have a lot of fun with numbers depending on which statistics you look at. I think that mainly they're focusing on the number of hospitalizations and ICU availability as being a positive trend, and maybe looking at that as opposed to looking at upward trend in cases themselves.
Right. And I have seen, to be fair, I have seen maybe one or two a little bit longer form analysis coming out from some of the local newspapers. Those are out there. I don't have any prepared to look at for tonight. But just to comment, I have seen one or two out there that have gone more out of their way to sort of put everything into context. This website that you've put together, though, rgvcovid19info.com, is a very useful resource in terms of looking at everything together. And I think we're going to have Ronnie back on the show as we move forward with some of these changes and developments on these cases. I think we're going to have Ronnie back. Hopefully next time we can show some of these data graphs that Ronnie has put together on the live stream itself with a little bit more preparation. For now, Ronnie, thank you very much for jumping on the line tonight to tell us about this. And again, everybody check out the website and keep abreast of this situation.
Yes, and if anybody wants to take a look at some of the charts that we're talking about today, they can go to my Twitter. I just tweeted out over at Ronnie Garza TX on Twitter. I just tweeted out some of these graphics that we're looking at today, including the case averages by these 2-week chunks that I was talking about, kind of trending upwards in these last couple of weeks.
Got it. Thanks very much. The Twitter account is Ronnie Garza TX. And the website is rgvcovid19info.com. Thanks very much, Ronnie.
Okay. Thank you, Pablo.
And
have a good one.
Thank you. And we will be right back with hip-hop recording artist C. Styles. Ladies and gentlemen, proud to welcome to the show hip hop recording artist from Brownsville, Texas, C Styles. Here
Hey, what's
tonight to
up? How
talk
you
about
doing?
his latest album, Hey C Styles. How are you today?
I'm pretty good, man. You?
Fantastic. Broadcasting from Brownsville, Texas. Is that correct?
That's correct. That's where I'm at.
Okay. I can't believe we made it to the show tonight. I had this really fantastic setup to bring your video in a much nicer way, but like I said, my computer blew up. But I think this looks pretty good, and I wanted to have you on the show tonight to talk about your new album. Tell us actually a little bit before we start talking about your music. Tell us a little bit about your experience. I guess you're originally from Chicago. You came to the Valley,
Yes.
and then
Uh-huh.
I don't know if you started in Chicago and then continued here, or have you discovered your talent in the Valley? Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I started discovering my love for hip hop actually in Chicago because I was surrounded by it the whole time. Basically, I grew up around it. I grew up in the '90s. I was born in the '80s, grew up in the '90s, so it was a perfect timing to like be influenced by
Yeah,
everything that was around me. And by the time I got here, I was like around 15 years old. And when you're in high school, you just discover a lot of things about yourself. So you start, developing, start experimenting with different things, like sports,
right.
writing. If you're like, talented in certain areas, that's what you do, right? So during like my like what sophomore year of high school, junior year, I started writing a lot, and then I started getting more into it in my senior year. And right then and there, like it became
Yeah.
something around like I guess I could say like 2 years
Who
after graduation, I made it into something.
who were your '90s hip hop influences? I'm really curious about that. Actually, like you mentioned it. Who are you listening to in the
Well,
'90s?
I mean, everybody from like Snoop to Biggie to Nas, Jay, Pac,
The
DMX,
whole scene.
Method Man. I mean, the legends, man. I mean, basically all of those guys. It wasn't until Mace came out though that he really gave me hope that I could do this. I was like, oh, okay. So you could be a nice looking dude, but at the same time have the skills to like
Yeah.
actually do songs like that are commercially accepted and also do the other type of stuff like storytelling. Because like Bad Boy was ruling the '90s during that time. Bad Boy
Right.
Records, with Puffy, Mace, Biggie, and they had like a little dynasty going on. Sort of like the Bulls. They were winning every time. Every time they put
Yeah.
out something, they were going platinum.
And you were listening
Mace
to all
though,
this stuff. When was the
uh,
first time that you actually completed like a song, I guess, just written down? I'm sure it was a while before you actually put a track together. When was the first time that you actually said that, you know what I did? I wrote something, or I wrote a track, I
I,
guess.
I wrote something during eighth grade. I'm gonna say eighth grade. Uh,
Very
but
early
an
on.
act eighth grade. But to actually record something, I didn't get to the studio until like I was like 19 years old. So
A
basically,
little bit later.
so because back then, like studios weren't common, right? It was like something that you could only dream of going to, right? Like it was like
Absolutely.
like yeah, the technology wasn't there back then, and if you were gonna go to
Right.
the studio, you were close to getting signed in the first place. You know what I'm saying? So I would
It
say
was a
that.
time when not anybody could throw on a pair of glasses and go on a live stream show
Yeah, exactly. That too.
and
That's
broadcast to
what
the world. It was a very different world.
that's what's
But
beautiful
you,
about it today, man. Today,
yeah,
everybody has the technology to do whatever, and I kind of envy these kids because they had no idea the hardship of like you getting to a studio, or if you want to be behind the scenes or in front of a camera, you had to go somewhere
right.
professional. And now you can do it on the phone, and
So,
people are blowing up.
despite that being said, I do want to say that I have not for too long, but probably less than a year, have been more closely following sort of the hip hop scene here in the Rio Grande Valley, seeing some of the stuff that comes out. And like anything else, like any other art form, yes, it is accessible to many, but a short list of people are putting out very good quality, well written and interesting material. And I think certainly you fall into that category. And it's one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on the show tonight and talk a little bit about not just your music, but what's going on in that whole area. I want to show people a little clip of a music video from
Mm-hmm.
a track on the latest album. Eventually, the
Okay.
track is actually it's Know What's Up. Is that? I'll let you say the
That's
name of the tracks because I
oh
didn't
yeah,
label it correctly. But I'm
yeah.
gonna
The
show
name
a
of
little
the
clip of
track
the
is
music. Go ahead,
oh yeah, the name of the track is "And You Know What's Up."
and you know what's up.
Basically, it's just a storytelling song about being high as hell, and then like all of a sudden he falls into his dream, thinking that he was gonna get with the girl that he was courting over the
Right.
messages, and she, like how like most Instagram girls go, like you try to like slide into the DMs and they ignore you. This guy had a dream that she actually said yes to him, and they go on
Right.
a date, and right before
More than
it
once.
everything goes good, he wakes up. So I mean, I know a lot of people could relate to that.
Yeah. Let me play this clip right now. Let's take a
And you
look at
know
this.
what's up, and you know what's up. Light it up, ayy. And you know what's up, and you know what's up. Light it up, ayy. And you know what's up, and you know what's up. Light it up, ayy. And you know what's up, and you know what's up. I used to hit her up with a quick message. Blue check, figured that she read it. Wasn't asking for a date or expressing. Maybe felt that I was coming on aggressive. Straight to the point, kicking that small talk. Old school flavor, maybe rather wanna call up. Never got the answer, never stalled.
Tell me a little
Never
bit about
thought
the
much, took it, never
production
thought
on
was
this
gone
video.
off
Where did you all
the
shoot
guard.
this?
Maybe my game wasn't that
So I went to
my game
LA
would've get
almost
far.
a year and a half ago, and first the main reason was because somebody wanted me to go model out there. It was an agency that
Okay.
wanted me to go model at the time, and I said, okay, well, sure, why not? So I made my way over there for a weekend. But then I said, if I'm gonna be out there, why don't I just shoot a video? And
Wow.
so I looked through the Instagrams, and then I went through the hashtags, and I looked for like video person, right, or video man or whatever, and I found this crew called Hype Beard,
Right.
and they said, well, if you're gonna come around this time, this is how much we charge so and so, and we can set it up. And I was like, oh,
Right.
badass. Then we'll do it on a Saturday or something. And then and I also contacted a girl out there, and I said, hey, you want to come out the video, pay you so and so, come through. And I mean, people there are just like, genuine about working with you out there more than anywhere else. So I was just
Right.
like, everyone's trying to do something out there in LA. So we went to Santa Monica, and I said like, yeah, man, let's shoot let's get like some of the scenery out there, so we can make it seem like we were really out there. Because if you shoot in a room or something, you can't tell
Right.
the difference of where you've been at or whatnot.
A little bit of a
So we
larger
went,
network.
yeah, so we went out there, shot like the whole day before sunset, and yeah, man, it came out like I was supposed to. And actually, we were looking for. Well, I was saying like, hey, anybody got like weed out there or a blunt I could smoke for the video, and the video guys actually did it, like, because
Yeah.
weed is legal out there.
You could
And they
have
said,
done
like-
that here. Right.
It was
You
it wasn't
could have
legal
done
at the
that here in
time.
Valley. But
Yeah, well, it was-
a lot of the other videos you shot here in the Valley, correct?
Yeah, there's a couple that shot in my hometown in Chicago, but yeah, most
Some
of
you
them I shot here.
Some
Yeah.
here in the Valley, some in Chicago, some in LA.
Yeah. Well,
Dude,
that's the only one in LA, but yeah,
Yeah.
you're right,
And
you're correct.
Right. Yeah, I know what's up, and you know what's up is on the new album. Eventually, it's a very nice track, very tight track, and I not to just compliment you, but to put it out there that there's a lot of rap artists in the Valley now, but not everybody has such a nice and tight flow as you do, and maybe
Appreciate it, man.
a few a few handful
Thanks,
of
man.
artists. Not just something you can get into, but also something that's original as well. So that's pretty cool. And tell me a little bit before we move on from that track.
Yeah.
Just apart from the music video, putting that track together, who were your collaborators on that? Was there a producer? Where did you get that recorded?
Well, I have my own personal producer over there in McAllen. He's more my buddy and stuff. I mean, he still charges though, right? He has to eat somehow. But he has a studio out there in McAllen. It's called
Sure.
Vocal Line Studios. We've
Got
been
it.
doing music together since 2011 when I met him. At the same time, like I said, the one who made the beat though was a dude out in Europe. His name is Jay Hendricks.
Yeah.
And he used to hit me up a couple of years back, and he'd be like, "Hey, would you like to rap on some of these tracks?" He would give me some beats, for free, just to get his name out there. And I was like, I was like, oh wow, okay, because most producers don't do that. But I was like, I'll make
Yeah.
sure to kill some of your beats, and it's an honor, like because like like I said, most producers they ain't giving shit for free nowadays. Um, so he sent me that beat, and I was like, okay, I could work with this. It reminded me of that one song called 1993 Till Infinity by I forgot the name of the dudes. It was a group. I forgot the group, but they were out in the West Coast.
Yeah.
Uh, oh, Souls of Mischief. That's the name of the group, right? From back in '93, and it
Right.
kind of resembled kind of the mellowness of it. It's like okay, I got to rap on this one right here. So it just came to me, and I knew I was gonna go to LA in a few weeks, so I did that song specifically for that to catch that vibe. So yeah, that's how it came together.
Very cool. Very cool. And I mean, I know that I've listened to your album twice, and I know just not from reading all the credits extensively or anything like that, but just from listening to the tracks that you had quite a few collaborators on there. Are there people that you work with more often, or do you just maybe do one-off track with somebody and
No,
be creative about your
well,
collaborations?
on these past two projects, I've kept them mostly in house because it was just
Okay.
like it was the chemistry that I liked. Most of my songs were produced by Malachi 808, which is a local producer out of Mercedes, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow.
He's here in the Valley, so basically, yeah. And he did most of my beats. I have one beat on the album that's done by a producer out in LA that I'm pretty cool with. His name's Alex Ibarra. He's pretty big out there in the local scene as far as a producer goes.
Right.
Uh, but besides that, my boy Noe, who goes by Ekis Lati, who's featured on the album, he does most of my mixing. He's the one that does
Nice.
all the mixing on there. So
Nice.
basically, it's all him. And
I really liked the production on the album, and I don't think I've ever mentioned it on this particular show, but I have done and I do a little bit of music production, both for my own music and sometimes for other people's. So listening to your stuff, I applied that kind of ear to it, and it's a very enjoyable mix and very enjoyable production. I'm gonna play a music video. This is the second video, and I'm gonna go ahead and play it. You might have a little bit of delay as it comes on your screen, but tell us the
yeah,
title
it's
of
all
this
good.
video, and I guess let's watch the intro first, and then we'll talk a little bit about it.
All right.
Ay, Felicín, ay, Estrellita. ¿Están comiendo pastelito? Ahora es... Thank you, mis niños. Thank you. ¿Dónde está tu mamá y tu papá?
Están en el carro ahorita mismo.
Okay. Yeah, that one's called Make It
Ok.
Clap.
Ahora vamos a comer unos
On this
pastelitos
one,
porque
we
es mi
shot it
cumpleaños
last
y
year in
vamos a
June.
festejar y yo con una
This was
cervecita me lo festejo.
basically like I needed a party track, right? I don't have that many songs where I have like girls dancing like that and stuff like that. And Tyga, he was an influence on this song because Tyga has those type of beats where like you don't really have to be like the new generation and you can rap
Right.
on them, right? And it kind of has that little like bounce going on. So I told Malachi like, yo man, can you make me a beat kind of like one of Tyga's songs? Like the I think it was based on the song Taste, right? Like that one
Right.
song he has out there. And I said like make me something like that where you got the sample but it has a bouncy beat. And so we did that, and I called my boy Lucy to be featured on it because like I think he's like pretty talented, man. Top 5 in the Valley to me. That guy kills anything he's on, man. He's a pretty talented young kid. And so when I did the video, my boy Valdemar, who is the video director, he said, "All right, man, I'm gonna get a bunch of girls, and we're just gonna have like a house party almost, you know." But we did this in a hotel, so it was like a hotel party. I blew most of the balloons, man, so that's kind of tiring. I had to blow on them. I had to blow on those balloons. I got a couple of other friends to come by on the video shoot, and so basically he said go out, have fun, pretend you're doing this and that and the third. And the reason why the grandma comes out in the video is because in the beginning she's reminiscing on how she used to party back in her day. You know what I'm saying? So she's
Right.
telling the grandkids this is how I used to get down. And the original concept of the video was supposed to be where like old people were dancing and stuff like that. But I didn't know where to get old people to be like down for that. And I was like, it was a quick shoot. So I said,
Right.
let me improvise and let me just say that she's like reminiscing about her old times. So we're gonna say this is the year 2019, and then like years later, this is how she reminisced and whatnot. So That's the whole concept of that video. It like I said, it was almost like a real party because I did get tipsy on there and I had fun. Like
During the
so you
production.
can see, yeah, you can see it in the video that we had fun. The reason you see a swimming pool is because Moose couldn't make the video shoot that time. He got sick, something similar like the corona, the way he described it to me. He said he was throwing up and he had a fever and everything. So he probably had the corona before the corona was out
Oh my
there.
goodness.
So we had to set up another shoot, and we did
Right.
this at a hotel swimming pool. And I just said, you know what, man, it's gonna put you a good-looking girl. You just rap, and she'll just do what she got to do to make the video appealing, which it did, and it got more people to view that. So, you know,
A perfect
so
example of all the stuff that I don't want to see going on tonight. Because we have a
uh,
global pandemic now.
we have a
But
global pandemic. Yeah,
I do really like that intro. I like the fact that the entire video is framed as a flashback, basically
it's a flashback. Yeah.
of this grandmother telling her grandchildren what kind of lifestyle she lived when she was young. So that's that's pretty interesting, and it is a catchy party track as well. Now I know that have you recorded tracks in different places, same way that you've recorded videos in different places, or do you do most of your music
Yeah.
production down here?
Oh yeah, I have recorded in different studios. Like the song "Soulless," that was the first song I recorded for this album, and that one I did in Detroit. My buddy Lele XO actually lives there, and the reason I was in Detroit is because we had a show there. Uh, we had a show over there at a small town outside of Detroit, right? And then I
Right,
told her I got this one song, you know, you should definitely be on it, and if you can find a studio that's open, we'll go right in.
right.
So the last minute there was a studio open. The guy said come on over and we recorded, and I think he did a fantastic job actually because you know the production was pretty good on that. Um, so it came out the way I wanted it to come out. And plus, like I heard there was like people like big artists that actually recorded in their studio, so it gave it
Right.
credential, you know. So
And this music video was shot here in the valley or somewhere else? Just out of
uh,
curiosity.
the Make It Clap.
Yes.
the- Oh yeah, yeah, that one was shot in Far Texas.
Okay. I'm just curious, and I've been curious because I have seen that in the sort of hip hop recording scene here in the
Uh-huh.
valley, you guys produce a lot more music videos than a lot of the other original music
Yeah.
genres here, and I really like that. You know, some videos are better than others, and I'm not a huge fan of everything out there. But just
Mhm.
the fact that this particular genre is putting out so much video, I really like that. I wish, you know, I listen to all kinds of music.
But you know
Uh,
why though? But it's cheaper to shoot hip hop videos than it is to like shoot a band or record a band or you know
right,
doing like different type of genres, man. I mean, like I said, like in hip hop, like most of the time you just like grab a location, I guess set up a scenario, and then boom, you got something
right.
there, you know. And
Could
at
be
the
a,
same time, like and at the same time, you know, it's putting out more for the fans to look after and but I'm kind of balanced out between it because it's like okay, if you put out a
yeah,
lot, you got to make sure it's quality because if people see that you don't put out quality, then they're gonna stop
yeah,
watching. Your reviews are gonna go down. So it's like a give and take.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think most of the music that I discover, sort of, let's talk about, you know, something that's very big now, very well established in the Valley, which is more rock based music or alternative, everything under the umbrella of rock, right? Everything. So
Yeah,
even
yeah.
punk and experimental or even into sort of electronic music, stuff like that.
Mhm.
Most of that music I discover on sites like Bandcamp, you know, even on Twitter and Instagram, following bands and stuff like that. But I think all of the hip hop artists from the Valley that I've discovered have been on YouTube.
Yeah. Okay.
I
Yeah,
think that's
that's
been
correct.
where I find
Yeah.
them, right? And of course they are on all the streaming services and everything. But in terms of music discovery, if you want to find hip hop from the Valley, YouTube is I think is the place to go.
I think it's the number one place where you can discover Valley hip hop, and the reason
Right.
being is because it's more accessible to people. Uh, I guess like more people around the world use YouTube to discover music.
Yeah.
SoundCloud used to be number two in as far as that, but I don't know like if I guess SoundCloud kind of fell off because Spotify kind of took over, where like they gave you what's it called royalties to every time they stream your music, and also YouTube does that too. SoundCloud, sometimes they do. It depends on your distributor, so that would be another reason why.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. YouTube is the number one.
And you, like a lot of independent artists, both in this genre and other genres, you handle a lot of all that stuff in terms of distributing your music and maybe even promoting it as well.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of have to. Like when you're an independent artist, you're in charge of everything that you do because you're not gonna hire a PR just yet if you're not, I guess like
Right.
blowing up, as to say, because most of the time you do have the time. You do have the time of your own to like, look after what you're
Right.
doing. If it
Well,
comes
I
a
think you've
time where
done.
like,
I
if
think
it
you've
comes
done
a
a pretty
time
good
where,
job.
oh, go ahead.
Sorry.
Oh, go
Sorry,
ahead. Go,
it's
no.
that audio delay, right? But I think you're
Yeah,
doing a
yeah,
really
that's
good job
fine.
actually because you actually have a pretty, for the Valley, you have a pretty big following for a Valley original artist. You've got more than 13,000 followers on Twitter, so that's pretty good. And I think maybe you tell me, is that due to maybe some of the artists that you've shared the stage with over the past couple of years, maybe?
I mean, it could be a combination of everything that I've done, like, the shows, just putting out music, interacting with people, networking, just like everything, I guess you could say
How,
there.
how often how often are you doing how often are you doing performances throughout, let's say, in one year? How many performances do you do?
I mean, it depends. It could be any type of show. I would say an average about 20 to 25 a year, maybe.
20 to
Um,
25,
and I,
maybe
and
once every
and
2 weeks or somewhere.
Yeah, yeah, it could be just anywhere. Like, it doesn't necessarily have to be the bigger shows. It could be the small local shows, doing bars, doing clubs, uh, doing events, car shows, etc. Like
Right.
there's different ways like hip hop artists do shows, and like it could accumulate to a bigger number more than the other genres as well. Like I said, because it's easier to put on a performance for a hip hop show more than it is for a rock show.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, anywhere they have a mic, you just grab and go and just start doing it,
Right,
basically.
right, right. So actually, something you said right now kind of piqued my interest. Before the pandemic, I'm not going to go out there now, but before this
Uh-huh.
pandemic started, what are there venues in the Valley where you can show up and regularly find original hip hop just on any given weekend, or is that
I
not
would say
established
I would
yet?
I, like as far as like what, just a DJ playing hip hop or somebody performing.
Not a DJ playing, someone like you performing, actual
Yeah,
rap
yeah, they have it often in downtown McAllen. Mostly
downtown
in the
McAllen.
McAllen area. That's what the hip
What
hop
are the?
scene's like
I guess
located.
what's the specific place, or what are some of the specific places?
I would say Flying Walrus would be one of them.
Okay,
Flying Walrus has hosted hip hop shows every month.
got it.
Mostly because of John King, who sets up all those shows. Or it could be somewhere outside the area where people set up their own stuff. And I mean, it depends. It depends really on the season too.
Yeah.
So more in the summertime.
Hopefully,
More in the summertime, I would
yeah.
say.
Hopefully, we see some people being very responsible tonight, so that we can go out to some very safe shows like this over the coming months. Maybe if people are good
Hopefully,
about
I mean,
distancing and masks and everything at
yeah.
downtown tonight and in the coming weekends. But we'll have to see how that turns out. Let's look at another music video. This music video is called "The One," and I'll play a little bit of the video so people can hear the music, and then we'll talk a little bit about this specific track, which is also on the latest album.
Oh,
Baby, you know how I feel about you. So I just wrote this song to let the world know how I feel. So sexy, baby, I won't waste your time. Waste your time. Cause I just wanna be the one. Baby, let me be the one. Anticipation working overtime. Cause I just wanna be the one. Baby, let me be the one.
How you feel when you're riding with a fly guy? Top down, downtown, looking at the skyline. Trying to live it up, sipping on a Mai Tai. Got the aura on lock with the right vibe. Take the spotlight, the headline of the nightlife. Pose for the camera, flex it up on the timeline. On the sidelines, following you online. Every post, every pic, hanging on the highlights. Let them know that, don't forget to show that. Thursday, showstopper with a throwback. Never hold back, giving up the whole pack. Blowing up stacks like we never owed tax. Boss up, and you never gotta owe
And you
back.
told me a
I
couple
love
of
it when
days ago we were chatting a little bit about this video. You said this is your wife in the video, correct?
Yeah, that's my wife in the video. Like I said, when I did this track, I just wanted something for someone of our age is to like vibe with, something you could two-step to. So it's basically more aimed at the mature crowd from 25 to 40 or older. And yeah, like I had her played in because, like, you know, like I said, man, most hip hop artists is like, you know, put their girls in instead of like, you know, random girls once in a while. You know what I'm saying? Like, just like show out, you know, let them know that, you know, you care about somebody. At the same time, the concept of this video is that if you had 24 hours to live, right before, like, who would you spend it with? So like towards the end of the music video, you'll see that, you know, like she discovers that I got a disease, and I had like those were my last 24 hours to spend, and I spend it with her. So something like, you know, a little bit something relatable for people out there.
I think actually this was definitely filmed in the Valley, correct?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it was filmed in Brownsville.
I recognize Brownsville in that video. That's cool. That's cool. That's a good track as well on this last album. Was there a sort of a lyrical or any kind of theme to this latest album, or is it just a, you know, a collection of some of the stuff you've been working on over the past couple of months? What was your vision, I guess, for the whole project together?
Yeah, more than anything, because the other album I had, it had a thing to it, right? Life After 11/2/16. But this one here was just a collection of songs of what I was feeling at the time, just like putting them together. I didn't even think I was going to come out with anything. But I just, like, you know, I started experimenting more on this album. My 13-year-old stepson is definitely a big influence in this one, because me and him have like this connection where, like, now we talk a lot about music, we talk about a lot of sports, and so he tells me who's up to date, who's, you know, hot right now, like Roddy Ricch, The Baby, Drake, you know, what's it called? Just all these other rappers, Lil Uzi. So I started listening. I started paying attention what he vibes with, right? Every time he puts on a song or whatnot, I started paying attention how he vibes to this thing. And he's also a pretty big fan of 90s music, because I do play it on my car. And whenever I take him, like, sometimes I like sneak in the song in there, and I'll just, like, you know, see his reaction to it. And like, I'll be like, all right, he feels this one, or he doesn't feel. And he'll tell me straight up, like, okay, I don't feel the song that you played me, but I do feel this, or I don't feel that, you know. So it'd be some songs that I'm shocked that he's not feeling, but then there's other songs that I'm shocked that he's feeling, you know. So,
and maybe the album was a little bit responsive to that.
Yeah, basically is that, you know, he was in my head a lot. So I did a lot of, I did like about 20 songs on there, and only about 14 of them made it. And I was questioning myself more than I ever have in my life about what songs to put on there. I actually was like, right before I had to turn in the album onto iTunes and all these platforms, I spent like 4 hours listening to all the songs that I recorded and just trying to like make a last second decision on what to do, what not to do. I never felt like that in my life, man. Like the other album, I put the track listing like this. I knew what to do. This one, I was like, okay, eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Like, oh my God, like, I don't know.
Why was that so different this time? Why was that so different this time?
Because I did a lot of experimental tracks, like I did a lot of songs
more outside your comfort zone, maybe.
Yeah, I did a lot of songs that sounded like today's stuff, but I didn't know if I was going to look like a fool or if I did them right. So, yeah, so that went chances. And it turned out that people were feeling the experimental tracks because it's like, you know, it's a brand new generation, and I might be out of touch with how people are really feeling nowadays, but they saw those tracks as like, okay, this guy, like, he has something for us. Like the song "The Truth," I was really iffy about that one. I was like, oh man, should I put that one out? I don't know. Another one called "They Hatin'," which turned out to be a lot of people's favorite song. It's like the last song on the album. That one I was just playing around, and I was just like saying, like, all right, man, turn on the auto-tune, let me do a little bit of this, and let me roll with it.
Absolutely. And just because I haven't mentioned it specifically before, but you all can listen to eventually on any streaming platform. It's out on Spotify, Apple Music, everywhere else, correct?
Yeah, everywhere you stream music, it's on there.
So for the tracks that, you know, we're mentioning that we don't have a video loaded up for tonight, you can definitely listen to the whole album online. It's available to stream. But what you're saying about you know, changing music and contemporary styles and stuff like that, it's very interesting. We have one more video called Contigo, and That's also
That
on your
one,
latest album.
that one.
Let's watch a little piece and
Okay.
let's watch a little piece. Let people listen to a little clip of this, and then we're gonna get some commentary on it from C Styles.
Go right ahead.
Si tú quieres estar conmigo, cierra los ojos, pase lo que pase, yo quiero estar contigo, yo quiero estar contigo. Si tú quieres estar conmigo, cierra los ojos, pase lo que pase, yo quiero estar contigo. Looking at the sky, now I'm taking it all. Trying to figure out the blame, like who really at fault. Catapulting petty shots, heavy verbal assault. Like we cutting even deeper than a surgical scar. Man, never knew that it would hurt like that. Got me drinking every night, never mind the fact. I try to take away the pain when she crying and that. Every time I look at her, she ain't designed like that. She ain't you. Regrets when I'm driving back. Looking at my phone, pretending that you're riding back. Acting like it doesn't matter.
Tell me a little bit about the beat on this track.
Okay, so this right here is what you call my bread and butter. You know, doing girl songs or shit or things for the chicks, like that right there is like it comes natural to me, right? I'm a big fan of dance hall music, the dance hall beats. That's actually going in style right now. And I said I need something that's dance hall-y, but at the same time I gotta have a hook in Spanish and a little bit of Spanish because I would say music like reggaeton and all the Spanish artists, like they get billions of views on YouTube, right? So basically, there's a bigger Hispanic audience than there is for English music, right? So I said I need to just put that one in there. I need to like just talk about something relatable that which is about getting drunk late at night, thinking
Yeah.
you're over your ex, and then all of a sudden like you get that buzz and you're like, oh hey baby, how you doing? Like I miss you. Like, when you said you
Have
wouldn't.
you have you done a track like this before with all the elements you're talking about in some of your previous music, or is this the first time?
I did something more that was kind of more
I mean,
happy. It was like a
in
happy
terms of
dance halls.
right, in
Yeah,
terms
what?
of you're saying combining some of the reggaeton, more
Yeah,
Latin influences into the music,
yeah, yeah.
that's something that you've done before, or is this maybe the first track where you've tried to do that?
I've done Spanish music. Well, half Spanish, right? Spanglish, I would say. On my
Yeah,
last album, I did. It's called The First Time. That one I have a Spanish in
yeah,
there and Quiero Saber. And I said, like at that time, I was like, I'm a Hispanic, right? And I got to implement that in my music too because that gets you a bigger audience. And a lot of people were big fans of both those songs, Quiero Saber and The First Time. Um, so I said, you know what? For every whatever album I start doing from now on, I'm gonna have something in Spanish at least once. And that
sure.
way, people that are fans of that, they play and they're like, oh, I like what he's doing right there or something. Like,
I do really
you
like
know,
that track. I wish that I had more time to have listened to your back catalog. I mean, you've got quite a few albums on the streaming services already. I wanted to make sure that I heard your latest one that we were going to talk about on the show tonight.
yeah,
But
yeah.
I do really like that track. You put this album out. Have you performed? And I know the timing of it was with the pandemic and stuff. Have you performed any of these songs live? Have you done shows
Yes,
since
yes.
it came out?
Actually, well, I haven't done a show since it came out. It just came out
Yeah,
in May, but some of the singles were out beforehand. So I did perform Make It
right.
Clap. I did perform And You Know What's Up. And I have performed a little bit of Contigo. Um, a lot of people are pretty receptive to Make It Clap though. Like I play that anywhere. People go crazy on it. To me, that was my biggest surprise. I was like, oh wow. Because that was one of the songs that I was like kind of afraid to put out at first. And this was, I mean, we're talking about last year when I put it out as a single at first.
Right.
Uh, the first time I performed it was at South Padre Island. Um, I performed it in front of at the this show right here. I was opening up for the baby, and when I performed it, people were going like they were vibing to it. And I was like, oh shit, I might have something here. Like so I was like, all right.
What was the venue at SPI? Just out of
It was
curiosity.
It was Isla Grande. They had something at Isla Grande at that
Okay.
time. So yeah, they had like it was almost like a pool party because the pool's right in front. People are just like kicking back, relaxing, or vibing to music.
Sure.
And so I performed that, and I gave out some T-shirts and people were going like pretty nuts about it. So I enjoyed that. And then I performed it at other venues and people just didn't seem to enjoy it. So I was like, all right, man, this one's a keeper then. And that's where the music
Yeah.
video came about, you know. So
Very nice. And I can tell just from listening to your music that it's something that you do because you really love it. You're super into it. And but you do comment a little bit about shaping your art to be have as much commercial success as possible within your creative outlet. Making music is something that not a lot of independent artists can live off of, just because of the way the music industry works today. Do you see your music as a business, or do you see it just as a creative outlet for people, as something you put out? And I guess what's been your experience with that either way?
I'm gonna let people out there know before they get into music. If you haven't gotten into music, don't get into music thinking it's a lucrative endeavor, man. It's not. It's not, this is not a place where like you make millions of dollars. Like, yeah, I've seen money from music, but it's a
Sure.
platform to brand yourself for other endeavors out there. You know what I'm saying? Um, it gets you. It sets you up. Right in front of people, and then from there on, you do what you do, but you do it out of love. At first, it's all about doing that out of love. And if you get business deals on the side with it, then great. You did it, and you're working off your music. But if you don't, don't get disappointed because you're not going to make millions. Like there's so very few in the world that actually do. And if your name's not Drake, Future, DMX, Jay-Z, you're not going to see millions, man.
Right. And before I ask you the next question, and I just want to put this out there on the show, what are some of the artists that you have shared a stage with over the past couple of years, I guess? Who are some of the people you really enjoyed sharing a stage with?
Definitely enjoyed sharing the stage with Scarface, DMX, also Nelly. But as far as today's artists, I've opened up for Takashi 69, The Baby, Migos, French Montana. Um, like I said, there's so many that like on top of my head, I'm
Yeah.
like I'm just going scrambling through names. But
Right.
also
So we can say, I mean, so we can say, and I'm not a big fan of Takashi. I'll say that on the show, but we can say that you've had, a pretty good success, a pretty good, enjoyable career in this so far, to be able to play with so many of your talented peers. What would you say? And I ask this because I have seen over the past couple of weeks, both researching this and again trying to get into local hip hop, a lot of young kids who are
yeah.
putting out tracks, especially on SoundCloud, putting out videos on YouTube, and it's from all over the place, not just from the Valley. I actually got to chat a little bit with some hip hop artists from as far Corpus Christi as well. There's a little hip hop scene in Corpus that's budding, and they've got some great stuff there too. But
Oh
what
yeah.
would you say to a lot of the people that are just getting started, and they want to be able to, produce this kind of art, and be able to have a place in this industry or in this genre? What would you say to those? What would you say to people in that
Uh, no
position
matter no
today?
matter if you're a rapper, a producer, a DJ, you always got to work at your craft, man. Never settle. You always got to like strive to be better. You never should settle at a level. You should just keep going and evolving. You know what I'm saying? The key word of being in this music industry is evolving. As far as
Right.
that, make sure you do it out of love. And the moment you don't love doing it, you just step down because once you lose love for it, it's just a job to you. So basically, yeah, just keep doing what you're doing. Make sure that you also collaborate with different people just to get like a little network going on. See what best fits you, and if somebody tells you they don't like your stuff, don't take it personal. Rappers seem to take a lot of things personal, and it shouldn't even be like that. They catch the most feeling. They say the most gangster shit, but they catch the most feelings. So I mean, it's like a catch 22. It's like what what's
Yeah.
going on here. So
There are, I mean, and then there are a lot of people trying to. There's a lot of people trying just to get their tracks produced, first of all. And I
exactly. Yeah.
actually had a few, like two or three people reach out to me on Facebook when I put out the promo that you were coming out on the show. I put out some ads and stuff like that, and I actually had two or three people reach out to me on Facebook and send me their SoundCloud links and stuff like that. And there's a lot of talent out there, quite a lot of talent. But there's people just trying to get their tracks. There's people who are producing fantastic tracks, trying to break through, trying to get, their first 100 followers. They may have some really great tracks, but trying to get their first 100 followers. So that's good advice. Good advice. But what I see more than anything, and what I want to share with people tonight, is that I think that there's like a really burgeoning hip hop scene in the Valley that is really coming up. And I think over the next couple of years, a lot of these people who are just starting out, and there's a lot of them, and they don't have a following. I see that they don't get as much attention as, I guess, your rock bands and your those kinds of independent artists here in the Valley, who you can name a dozen or even 2 dozen or more bands, projects, music projects like that amass a pretty good following and even go on tour nationally and stuff like that. But as far as hip hop music, I feel like there's some seeds that are being planted now and even before, that I think we're gonna see some very mature, more than there are now. Of course, there are already some, but more than just a handful of hip hop artists in the Valley, a whole scene, a whole garden of these seeds coming up in the next couple of years. So that's pretty exciting, and something that interests me a lot, because I love music, and I think hip hop in the Valley is something that I haven't paid a lot of attention to in years prior. Just getting into it and being very surprised to find some really fantastic stuff. Your music,
it's a big scene out there, man. It's a pretty big scene out there, and there's the younger kids that are coming up, man. They for sure are going to take over, and they have more knowledge, or knowledge is presented to them because of the internet, of what to do, what not to do, and learn from the mistakes of the past artists that we've had over the years. But I do believe that somebody from here is going to come up and, if they haven't already, and make a big name for themselves. There's a guy from that lives in San Antonio, but he's from Brownsville. He kind of made a name for himself. Man, I forgot his name at the top of my head, but
that always happens to me on the show. I forget.
Yeah, it always happens to me
details.
On the show. But he did make a name for himself in San Antonio. He has a big name.
Yeah.
Man, what was the name though? Oh man, I'm gonna remember it after the show.
We'll put it up on the chat. We'll put it up on the chat for sure. So this album is out. This album is out now, and to go back to my comment about performing and COVID-19 and everything. What are your plans for this particular album? Obviously, things are very different than other times you put albums out. How do you plan to promote this album a little differently, I guess?
Well, very much so, man. It's very different than what I'm used to. I would say that I'm still with the stimulus checks that they're going to be sending us, right? I'm going to use that money to promote online all over the place, from Facebook ads to Instagram ads. That's what people should really invest some of the money, the extra money they make, instead of going out, buying drinks, smoking weed and whatnot. They should invest their money into promoting their music if they're really about that. That way
use the stimulus
you'll see
for
the back
hip-hop.
end.
I love that.
Yeah. You'll see the back ends of it, because you start promoting to a broader audience that are more than what are used to your music, and you'll start getting a new following too. It does make sense, because then your return on investment comes back, maybe a few months later, and you start seeing oh wow, I got a little growth spurt right here, and there's more people following and anticipating what I'm doing. So it is worth that. But as soon as they gave us a green light to go out and perform, which I don't see that happening till maybe a year or two from now, to be honest.
I agree.
Where they have a mass gathering and stuff like that. Nah, I don't think so. But as far as that, that makes you evolve your mind and be more creative with how you promote yourself.
I'm gonna put this out there, and it's just another example of what I mean by this genre is just getting established in ways that others are not. We've had already a couple of live stream shows. I think the latest one was CNL Ray in McAllen raising money. There were a ton of bands on that live stream. I would die for a live stream of a bunch of Valley hip hop artists all performing back to back, maybe even over a whole weekend or just one night. So I'm going to put that out there. I'm going to put that out there into the universe. I'm going to put that idea in your mind. It would be very cool to see a live stream of a hip hop lineup.
I agree.
From the original artists from the Valley. So I think that would be a cool way of, and maybe there have been, and I didn't see it, but if there were, I'm sure maybe somebody might throw a link into the comments or something like that. But if there was, we need more. So I'm gonna put that out.
I definitely agree to that. So basically, what you're saying is that the bands performed live at Tina Del Rey, but there was nobody there, but they were streaming though, right?
Right. So it's just a live stream. People can tune in from home and, put these performances up on the internet, to watch live, to watch together, with friends and so forth. Something that's already happened several times in the Valley, all over the Valley with bands and other genres, putting these kinds of shows together. Would be really cool to see something like that with hip hop. But thank you so much for coming on the show tonight. It's been a pleasure talking to you. Anytime that you have a project that you want to come talk about on the show, you are welcome to. And I think I'm going to try my best to have more original hip hop from the Valley on the show as often as I can. The new album is called Eventually. It is available everywhere music is streaming right now. C Styles, thank you so much for being on the show tonight.
Thank you for having me, guys. Definitely appreciate that. Thank you so much. And shout outs to you and what you do for the music scene and, everything you do in general, man. I appreciate that.
Thanks a lot. Special thanks again to Ronnie Garza for coming on earlier tonight with RGVCovid19info.com. And special thanks again to Casa Panchita Studios for letting us borrow a MacBook to make the show possible tonight. And I'm going to play And You Know What's Up to wrap up the show. We will see you all next week.
And you know what's up, and you know what's up, light it up, ayy. And you know what's up, and you know what's up, light it up, ayy. And you know what's up, and you know what's up, light it up, ayy. And you know what's up, and you know what's up. I used to hit her up with a quick message, blue check, figured that she read it. Wasn't asking for a date or expressing, maybe felt that I was coming on aggressive. Straight to the point, kicking that small talk, old school flavor, maybe rather wanna call up. Never got the answer, never stall up, never thought much, took it out like I was caught off guard. Maybe my game wasn't that sharp, Kanye that my game wouldn't get far. Left off, I'm clacking out early in the day, take the rest off. Hitting up a dime sack with the right track, song so mellow, got a hoodie up and like that. I ain't stressing over any girl with nice wrecks. Get your life ruined, never get that time back. Phone lighting up, making up a rare sound. High as a motherfucker, oh she wanna care now? Thought about ignoring, with my finger forcing. Picking up the phone, swiping on the clear sound. There it was. 2 weeks later, but she finally showing love. Sending out a hey, but not just any hey. Triple Y, meaning that I'm really her taste. And you know what's up, and you know what's up, light it up, ayy. And you know what's up, and you know what's up, light it up, ayy. And you know what's up, and you know what's up, light it up, ayy. And you know what's up, and you know what's up, light it up, ayy.
One time, put your fucking hands up. Light it up one time, put your fucking hands up.
Kinda took me by surprise when she said that. Had to pinch myself a little when I read that. Smile like a kid laying where I rested. Looking through my bank app to check about the bread I had. Shit, now I look at life a little different. My heart pumped like the little kid with Gucci rhythm. Funny how your mood changed when she give you digits. And she wanna meet up wherever I decide. So I leave the phone alone, trying to look fly. Separate the hangers on the closet, like to see the vibe. Which outfit should I go and try? Do I got enough gas filled in the ride? Look, fast forward, finally met. And living up to everything that I would expect. Pretty eyes, pretty face, had the good lips. Basically anything a guy could ever wish. I was mesmerized by the way that she conversed. Intellectual, classy, head down to earth. You could tell she was feeling me first. Reciprocating every sign of the way I flirt. But something felt a little different. I couldn't quite tell, very blurry with the vision. The words were coming out of her, I couldn't even listen. Now I'm in a position, laying down in submission. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Had another homeboy looking at me face up. Like dog, did you pass out while baked up? I must have knocked out trying to rearrange up. In the middle of it all, I barely realized that the girl never called. Matter of fact, that date never happened. It was all in my head while napping. Yo, y'all not gonna believe what just happened. I smoked out earlier and I thought I went out on a date with this one girl. I guess not. And you know what's up, and you know what's up. Light it up, ayy. And you know what's up, and you know what's up. Light it up, ayy. And you know what's up, and you know what's up. Light it up, ayy. And you know what's up, and you know what's up. Light it up, ayy.
One time, put your fucking hands up. Light it up one time, put your fucking hands up, hands up.
And you know what's up, and you know what's up. Light it up, ayy. And you know what's up, and you know what's up. Light it up, ayy. And you know what's up, and you know what's up. Light it up, ayy. And you know what's up, and you know what's up. Light it up, ayy.
One time, put your fucking hands up. Light it up one time, put your fucking hands up.